Hello, my name is Travis Hallman. I am the lead administrator for the Ask a Libertarian Facebook team. It brings me great pleasure to serve as tonight's moderator for the 2018 Libertarian National Committee Chairperson debate hosted by the Feldman Foundation. Tonight's debate is structured so that each candidate will be allowed 2 minutes to offer an answer to each question. Optional rebuttals lasting no longer than 1 minute may be provided once each candidate has provided a main question answer. Please watch for my raised hand while providing your responses, as this will signal that your response time has almost elapsed. When you observe my raised hand, please conclude your responses as expeditiously as possible as a courtesy to other candidates. If you continually exceed time limits during tonight's debate, I will orally request that you conclude your statements. We will begin tonight's debate by allowing each candidate to offer an opening statement in response to the following prompt. Why should delegates vote for you to be the Libertarian National Committee Chairperson in 2018? Let's begin in the order which contestants arrived. To begin with, Mr. Schutter.
Libertarians know what's best for them. Libertarian delegates would have to decide that question. In my campaigns, I never asked for a vote because I believe that would be un-libertarian. But I would say that I am a libertarian that would work hard for you. I will fight for you. I will do everything I can for you. I am a libertarian that believes in freedom 100% all the time. That's my answer.
Thank you, Mr. Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Schutter. Next is Ms. Dearn.
She's muted.
Ms. Dearn, I believe you're muted.
There we go. All right. As I'm running for chair, the initial question you have to ask as a prerequisite for whether somebody is qualified for the chair position is, what does the Libertarian National Committee do and what is its purpose? So in my view, the purpose of the Libertarian Party is to make the country libertarian. That's the penultimate goal. And then how do we get there? Well, we do that with enacting libertarian policy. How do we get to libertarian policy? Well, we have to elect candidates into representative positions, into local positions. We need to have lobbyists, and we need to lobby for libertarian laws. How do we do that? Well, we have to grow the party. We have to get fundraising and money and voters, and we need to have good education, good PR and messaging for the company, good branding, I'm sorry, the party, good branding and good operations. So when I look at what the Libertarian National Committee does, I think, okay, our goal is to make this country libertarian. What can I bring to the table as far as furthering that goal? Now, I believe that we should always be striving for continued and improved excellence. But after 46 years, we're still stuck at roughly 2 to 3% of the vote in most races. And our infighting is making us less effective because we're not pulling all together in the same direction. It also makes us vulnerable as a party to take over by somebody with just a few $100,000 because they can pay for their friends to become delegates and come in and sweep the party and sweep its representation. So I think that these are ways that we're weak, and we need to be looking at coming together, unifying as a party, and looking at how we can overall improve our messaging, how we can overall improve our education, our support for the grassroots, because that's how we're getting people elected, how we can make the party attractive to turning elected officials into libertarians, how we can get libertarians who've come to us reelected. All of those things work together for making the country more libertarian. Historically, the Libertarian National Committee has never had a chair for longer. I'm sorry? Yeah.
I've become aware that the hand raising technique isn't working because I don't think it's able to be seen. So I just want to let you know you're at 2.5 minutes.
All right, well, I'll just wrap up because I'm sure I'll get to the rest of this later. But I am, the reason I think that the delegation should vote for me is that I have a tremendous amount of organizational experience, tremendous amount of libertarian ballot access experience. I have managed hundreds of volunteers. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a business owner. I have tons of board experience, and I have a lot of great ideas to help us improve as a party to really push forward our agenda.
Thank you, Ms. Dearn. Mr. Kuehnel, your answer is next.
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Matt Kuehnel. I come from a very radical, you can say left, but I was just an anarchist. And what brought me into libertarianism was Ron Paul in 2008 and abolishment language. And to me, I think that's where I got sucked in. And I followed him in 2008, 2012 when he lost. I followed Gary Johnson, but it was so brief in between the election that I didn't get involved in the party. Come 2016, I actually was following the party, waiting to see if Gary Johnson got elected. I came into the party and I wanted to get involved. So I hit up my local state party, got involved, and just the infrastructure wasn't there. And come to find out all this contention, ideology-wise, that I just wasn't aware of. And then my first state party was when they kicked James Weeks out. They suspended him for 2 weeks following the nominations. That was my first experience, and that left a bad taste in my mouth. So what I want to do is kind of go from that where I was and what brought me into the party. And I think that's just the radicalness of, you know, Gary Johnson reaching to the left and being sympathetic to those views. I think he's, in hindsight, not a great libertarian messenger, but I think that's where the biggest inroads were, and that's what I want to bring to the party, is to smash this image that we're just Republicans in training, that we're sympathetic, if not dismissive or enabling of racism, that we shame the poor and we enable corporations, and that's the biggest block for me reaching my demographic. And I've been able to reach that demographic now using different language, but promoting the same ideas of abolishment.
Thank you, Mr. Kuehnel. Mr. Smith, you are next to answer.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Travis, for hosting this debate, and the Fellman Foundation. I want to give you guys big props for that. Thank you to the other chair candidates that showed up. As some might notice, there is one that is missing. He is obviously too busy for us. Why should people vote for me? I think they should vote for me because I have a real vision for the party. I believe that what we've been doing is no longer working. I believe that at the end of the day, we do need to get candidates elected. We do need to push our principles to the mainstream. And there's only one way to go about that, and that is to enable our grassroots activists to become great candidates for not only our country, but for our local races and for our county races and for our state races. And I've said many times that I believe we need to use the LNC as a tool to enable those people. And I'm the only one who's laid out a plan. I'm the only one who's laid out a vision for this. I'm the only one who's given real solutions to real world problems for our candidates. And at the end of the day, I don't see another candidate doing that. And so that's why I'm here, and that's why I think people should vote for me, and I can yield the floor after that.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. I would like to give an opportunity to each candidate to please announce if you would like to be recognized for a rebuttal. Okay, great. We'll go to the next question.
I think Alicia said something, but she was muted.
No, I'm not muted.
You were when you were asking.
Huh, that's funny. It's it must just be the program. Anyway, yeah, I would like to rebut something that Josh just said, which is that he's the only candidate who has a plan for how to improve the Libertarian National Committee and push forward resources to candidates on down ballot to grow the party, and that's not true. I also have a plan that I have offered. Actually, I have several ideas, and some of which that I'm still rolling out slowly as part of this campaign goes. So I think that that's not an accurate statement, and I hope that everybody will look at all the candidates and see what they have to offer as far as how we can improve the party.
Thank you, Ms. Dearn. I would like to give an opportunity to anybody else that would like to offer a rebuttal. Please announce if you would.
Sure, right here. Yeah, I'd like to agree with Alicia, actually. Joshua just seemed really smug there. He is not the only one with plans for the party. We've all been putting in work. We've all been having ideas of what we want to see and where we want to see the party. So it's just blatantly false.
Thank you, Mr. Kuehnel. Would anybody else like to offer a rebuttal?
Sure, I'll rebuttal too, since we all did. I'd like to say, let's not be divisive, guys. We all have plans. The delegates will decide in July. And let's work together and come up with a better plan and grow the party. That's my rebuttal. We're all here trying to work for the Libertarian Party.
Thank you, Mr. Schutter. Mr. Smith, you're the only one that has not offered a rebuttal. Would you like this opportunity?
Yeah, absolutely. So my thing is that I haven't seen plans laid out. I've been laying out a plan for the last 4 months, and I'm sorry if you guys think that was me trying to take a big knock at you. It wasn't. I want to see plans. I want to see a vision, and I want to see people giving real world, like I said, real world solutions to real world problems, especially for our party. And so, let me apologize if I missed anything, but that is something that I want to see. And regardless of if I win or not, or you win, Alicia, or you win, Matt, or Matt, I want to see a plan. I want to see a real plan. And I think that candidates do too, and also the delegates do as well. And I've been working with a lot of great people to lay out a real vision for the party. And that is what I think we all need to be doing every day. So.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Each response and each rebuttal is greatly appreciated. We'll move on to.
If people really understood what libertarianism was, I think we'd find that there's a lot of Nebraskans who are very libertarian and who would feel very comfortable within the Libertarian Party. Old parties, if you will, won't allow people of diverse opinions to be comfortable, to be welcome inside their ranks. And then it's important to have more third parties, and it's important for people to be able to express their views. The Declaration of Independence is probably the best exemplar of libertarianism that there is out there. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And we ought to be able to do things without the interference of government so long as we aren't hurting somebody else. What you find is that there's a lot of people out there who just want to be left alone. They want to be able to live their lives, they want to be able to live their dreams, and they don't want government getting in their way.
We'll move on to the next question. Of those who have already served as Libertarian National Committee Chairperson, who is your favorite and why? We'll go to the second person that joined the debate for the first answer to this question, Ms. Dearn.
I don't know that I have a good answer to that question. Everybody who has served as national chair has had strengths and weaknesses. I would say that the party has retracted quite a bit from how it was in the 90s. To where it is today. We're now seeing a growth trajectory again, so I think that that's a good thing. We haven't had a couple things. We haven't had a chair for more than 2 terms, throughout the entire history of the Libertarian National Committee. I think that's good. I think that the turnover is good. Whenever we have some people on the board too long, it creates a lot of division. I mean, there's still people who are angry about stuff that happened in like 2008, that those people are still harboring resentment. So I think that that's a bad thing for us to really idolize people, and really what we should be looking for is having a good bench of leadership in this party, turning over leadership so that we can continually improve operationally.
Thank you, Ms. Dearn. Mr. Kuehnel, your answer is next.
Okay, I mean, really the only chair that I'm familiar with, besides some dude named Dave Smith, who's a troll on the internet, is Nick. And I really like Nick. I just, I don't see enough of him. I feel like, and I feel like he does a lot around, and especially in Phoenix, running for mayor. But I just don't see enough. Maybe he's just not reaching me. But otherwise, I don't know. I got no problem with Nick. He can control a room. I've seen that happen in Michigan, as far as chair, and I think that's a hard thing to do with libertarians. So.
Thank you, Mr. Kuehnel. Mr. Smith, your answer is next.
Awesome. So, as a lot of people know, I was a giant Nick fanboy, and I still like Nick. I think Nick's done a lot of really good things for the party. The party was conceived in the living room of David Nolan, so I like to consider him our first chairman of the National Libertarian Party, and I think we're screaming for another David Nolan. So I'm going to go ahead and say David Nolan, because he was principled and he knew how to speak to people and he knew how to shake hands and win hearts and minds. And we're screaming for another David Nolan. So that's absolutely my favorite.
Thank you for your answer, Mr. Smith. Mr. Schutter, your answer is next.
Yes. Can you repeat the question, please?
Absolutely. Of those who have already served as Libertarian National Committee Chairperson, who is your favorite and why?
I would have to agree with Josh and say David Nolan. He was an awesome Libertarian, knew how to rile the crowd and grow the party. I also would like to make a comment about Nick. Nick's a good chair. He has a good message for the Libertarian Party. I just think that we're not using our tools more properly. I think Facebook, social media would be a better way. But I would say my second favorite is Nick, and that's my opinion.
Thank you, Mr. Schutter. Thank you each for your answers. I would please announce if you would like to be recognized for a rebuttal. Okay, there's been no announcements for rebuttals. We'll continue to the next question. Under your leadership as Libertarian National Committee Chairperson, how would the National Committee function? This is the third question. We'll begin with the third speaker that joined us, Mr. Kuehnel.
To me, the LNC would function primarily as just a tool to grow the party, as far as affiliates, as far as events, putting things together for media attention. I don't think it should be used for individual campaigns. I've seen a lot of questions online as far as, how would you get libertarians elected? And a chair doesn't do that, but they can only kind of give that support and give those opportunities for good candidates to get noticed. So just more excitement, make the party fun, and that's what I would like to see.
Thank you, Mr. Kuehnel. Mr. Smith, you're next.
Yeah, I would like to see the LNC given back to the hardworking ground level activists. And I've said this several times, and I travel in the country and I'm talking to candidates and activists and delegates. And I would like to see the party build a solid base for our candidates, whatever possible way they can. And that includes, creating educational tools and just all around enabling our candidates and our activists. They should just exist to enable the state and local leaders of our party. And I'll yield the floor there.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Mr. Schutter, your answer is next.
Yes, we got to look at the Libertarian Party as a business. And how do we grow that business? Well, first of all, you support your membership. You bring ideas. What is your business about? Well, our business is politics. It's third-party politics. We bring ideas that our membership brings to us. We do spotlight candidates. We do help grow because them are our salesmen. And then, if you have a good message with a good business, and the reason really I'm running is to be a voice of the downtrodden. Okay, Alicia mentioned about from her state that she's in, you have to have a licensed plumber to do some plumbing in your house. That's ridiculous. It's a law against the poor. I mean, that would be an example of my administration that, let's talk about police abuse. In 2015, I was running for Carbon County Sheriff here in Pennsylvania, and I sat on a illegally parked cop car that was giving parking tickets on Labor Day weekend with a sign that says, "Stop the police state, vote Libertarian." Where was Nick? Where was it when all these police were shooting people and getting away with it? There was no voice. That's an example of a message that we can bring, okay? We can bring to the table and have a strong message about freedom 100% of the time, all the time. And then we can grow the party. We can have ideas, spotlight our candidates that are libertarian, and then we can then raise funds and grow the party. Thank you very much. I'm yielding.
Thank you for your answer, Mr. Schutter. Ms. Dearn, your answer is next.
Thank you. So the Libertarian National Committee exists for the sole purpose of supporting the mission of the Libertarian Party. And the Libertarian Party's mission is actually laid out in the bylaws. The bylaws say that the mission is to educate, to lobby, to elect candidates, to run a presidential candidate, and to grow the party. So those are the mission, the goals and the mission of the party. So the LNC under my leadership would be focused on those goals and pursuing as many directives as we can efficiently towards accomplishing that stuff. So I really do agree that we need to have better resources that go towards our local parties and our local affiliates. I also think that we need to be supporting promising candidates, but we need some kind of criteria in place to choose when we have an opportunity, how to identify that opportunity, and then how to jump on it and capitalize on it as best as possible to either get somebody elected or to draw a lot of media attention or other types of educational opportunities for the party. And so we're lacking in that kind of direction right now. We are missing opportunities as a result. So for example, when Roy Moore's campaign imploded in Alabama, I actually was on doing a television segment in San Diego, and out of the blue, the host asked me, well, who's the Libertarian candidate in Alabama? Maybe they can draw some votes. And I actually didn't know the answer to that question. I mean, I knew where to look, but I didn't know. And I was like, man, that was such a missed opportunity. I should have known. I wish I had known the answer to that question. I wish I had been immediately been able to point to, like, yeah, we've got this great effort, like going after this seat, because even if we wouldn't have won it, we could have really done some good stuff with that media attention and drawn some Republicans away from the Republican Party, and perhaps some Democrats away as well. So the LNC, to wrap up, the LNC under my leadership would be needs to be more focused on actually pursuing the mission in a way that is effective. It supports the executive staff. We do have an executive director. He's the paid person to act like the CEO of the party. We need to be looking at what he's doing, what the employees are doing, what our operations are doing, and just improving them.
Thank you for your answer, Ms. Dearn. Each of your responses are greatly appreciated. Please announce if you would like to be recognized for a rebuttal. There were no announcements, so we'll continue to the next question.
I think
Travis,
Matt had a rebuttal, actually.
Oh, forgive me, Mr. Kuehnel.
It wasn't so much a rebuttal necessarily to anybody, but I think it should be noted that we have a lot of missed opportunities. We have a lot of candidates and a lot of affiliates and a lot of state affiliates doing really interesting things that I think the national party misses, where they could exploit that a little bit, help our candidates, and also help the LP's image of staying fresh in the news. So like Corey Watkins had his open carry cannabis. We got Brian Ellison with the Arm the Homeless campaign that's getting a lot of attention. So things like that, where I think we play safe and then we miss these opportunities, or we don't have the communication channel to get it correct and on time.
Thank you, Mr. Kuehnel. Would anybody else like to be recognized for the
rebuttal? I'd like to rebuttal. I would like to rebuttal.
Is that Mr. Schutter, I hear?
Yes. Yes. My rebuttal is the same. Well, of course, we do party business that needs to be done, and we support our executive staff and so forth. Well, of course, what I would like to see the Libertarian Party do is work more with the states, work more with the local candidates, and getting ideas out there. And we need to support our membership more. When our members are out there on the streets doing something, and they outreach to me, if I was chair, I'd bring the attention to them. That's how we're going to grow the party. We need to be seen as a working man's party, as the third option on the ballot right now, but the working man's party that's going to stand up for everybody, especially the downtrodden, and especially cut their taxes. Okay, but the only way to do that is to be active and show the nation that we're serious about politics and we're serious about getting elected.
Thank you for your rebuttal, Mr. Schutter. Would anybody else like to be recognized for a rebuttal?
Alicia, you can hear me?
Ms. Dearn, yes, ma'am, you're next.
I just want to say that in response to Mr. Kuehnel's point that we miss a lot of opportunities, I completely agree with that. I don't think that it's laziness or politics on our part. I think it's just a lack of good communication and a good network that we have between our grassroots and our local affiliates and our national, and a way to really activate very quickly. And so that's something that I'd really like to see. There's so many tools that we could adopt in order to make decisions quickly on when there's an opportunity, and then to exploit it. So I wanted to thank him for bringing up some of the really cool kind of ideas that some of our libertarian friends have had, and we just need to do more of that stuff and amplify it.
Thank you for your rebuttal, Ms. Dearn. Mr. Smith, you're the only candidate that hasn't been recognized for a rebuttal. Would you like to be recognized?
Yeah, I'll take a minute to rebut and also agree on some issues, if that's okay. I agree that we have many missed media opportunities. I've talked very extensively about it with a lot of the delegates that I've met over the last 7 weeks. I think we really dropped the ball with the Ron Bishop campaign, who I followed pretty closely. Alicia was talking about the Alabama campaign. Ron Bishop was a great candidate. They don't have ballot access there. He was running against Roy Moore, who we all know garnered national media attention in the state of Alabama. The entire nation's media has descended on one state. And we put out a meme and a reminder to vote. And Ron Bishop could have gotten them ballot access. So it was a huge missed media opportunity. I said the same thing about the Montana congressional candidate, Mark Wicks. You know, his opponent body slammed a reporter in a news conference before the election, and we put out a meme and a reminder to vote. And we could do so much better, you know. And so I definitely agree with Alicia. I think, you know, we can do a lot better. I don't think Arm the Homeless is the best campaign slogan to run on, Matt. I really don't. I think that's not going to help our party go further with the normal everyday person that we're trying to show the light that is personal liberty and individual sovereignty. So yeah, that's, you know, we do miss a lot of media opportunities, and I've talked pretty extensively about wanting to build a media hit squad, you know, for people, corners of the country, ready to send on any country or any state that gives us that kind of media opportunity. We need to be there. We need to call press conferences. We need to do press releases, and we need to let those people in those states know, hey, you have another option. And the people of Alabama may have not voted for Ron Bishop, but there's a possibility he got enough to get them ballot access. There's a possibility that the state doesn't turn blue and they start looking to another option. So yeah, absolutely. We really need to take those missed media opportunities. Very, very important.
Thank you for your rebuttal, Mr. Smith. That concludes that question. Each person had an opportunity to speak twice. The next question